never heard that? you never heard that? It means they're sexually frustrated if you peel the label off your bottle. Jeez. And every time I come in here, you have a bottle without a label.
Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. This is the That's BS Podcast live from Studio B. I am your host, Brian Snyder, and today I have co-founder of...
Are we doing this? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Of Luma Studios Media.
It doesn't even have a name at this point because it's not what it was originally designed to be. So it's just an entity, just a space. So yeah, it was Luma Soul Studio, but now it's
Luma Soul Entity. MSC, LSE. Let's say, that'd be a good name.
Let's say?
That's going to be my daughter's name.
Let's say. Okay.
Let's say.
Like Absidy?
Absidy, sure.
ABCDE?
Oh, yeah.
Never heard of that?
No.
Okay.
Well, we are here live. I was actually just going to do an episode with me, but then he jumped in and I was like, yeah, all right.
Is that, you're just going to do it? Okay.
I really was going to do it.
I can leave.
No.
I can skedaddle.
No, because this ain't going to happen if you leave. So,
okay.
So I'm just going to take advantage of you being here.
Good. Okay. All right, I'm here.
So let's talk about it. What, who, when, where, how, who are you? Because, I mean, I know who you are to me. I've mentioned you in videos before, people who follow me, like the 10 people that do. I want them to know who Tally is and be familiar with the man behind the name.
So just for context, like he set up all this stuff and he was like, yeah, we're going to do a podcast. You know what I'm saying? And then I sit down and it's like, I was just going to do it myself. I don't know where he's coming from. But okay. All right. You know, that's cool.
I was.
All right. I'll follow instructions. So,
because I had told you.
My name is Ferro Neal, and I am the owner of Ferro Visuals. I do photography and videography, specializing in corporate work. And I have been doing photo and video full time for the past 6 years. In a nutshell, I think that's good. So,
what drove you to do corporate stuff over like regular portraiture?
So you know what, I will say that it's the money.
Yeah.
Because that's it.
Yeah. No.
Because there's no creativity. I mean, there's a little creativity involved. There's a little creative flexibility that you have for stuff like that, but for the most part, it's cut and dry. And sometimes it's not very interesting, but when I send the invoice, it always gets paid on time.
Right.
More times than not. But, I mean, I enjoy it. I do enjoy it, but yeah, I feel like that's in photography and videography. I feel like that's like a sacrilegious thing to say is, because it's about the money.
No,
because it's like, well, you have to be a creative and you have to, but I mean, I can't be creative if I'm living on the street. So
that's what I was going to say. Like, I think if this is all you do, it's got to be a lot about the money for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, for one, you've got a family to take care of too.
I do.
Like for me, I can take a leap of faith and try something else if this doesn't work.
So I'll tell you. So I'm not afraid to take leaps of faith, family or not, because it is more times than not, but if I'm going to take a leap of faith of anything, I've already calculated the risks. I've already sat and talked, prayed about it. I've talked to my wife about it, and she is very supportive. If I want to go do something, do it. So, but that's also on my back because I know that if I go and I do this thing that is, if it doesn't make it, now I have to pay the consequences. I have to figure out how I'm going to support my family if it doesn't work out. So if I'm going to make that jump, she already knows, like, he's got it taken care of. But I'm not afraid to take risks. Like, I'm not afraid to, like, just go after something and figure it out later, if that makes sense. Like, I'll land on my feet.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think just like for me though, a lot of times like I won't even calculate the risks. I'll just be like, well, you're kind of feeling like you want to do it right now. Yeah, just do it. Which, I mean, to a certain extent may also be a fault of mine. That may be a huge issue. But it's also one of those things where, like, I've told you about the YouTube channel, like, just do it.
Just do it.
For me, it's like, just grab it. You own a lot of cameras. Hold it and talk about what you just bought,
Yeah.
Whereas for you, it's like, let me think this through. Let me see what, like, build something
like,
out of it.
Stuff like that is not even, we're talking about, like, doing YouTube videos and, like, doing reviews on stuff that I'm purchasing. Like, it only makes sense for me because I buy a lot of gear that I would figure out a way to make that work in my favor and say, okay, well, I'm going to review these things. Maybe I'll get sponsored at some point. It's just a matter of doing it. Like, it's time and all of that. Whereas for you, like, that you say it's a curse, but I mean, you could really, like, lean into a lot of that stuff because not to be funny, but you don't have a family, right? It's only you for the most part. Like, you can, you only have yourself to take care of. Like, you really can go after anything that you want to go after, right? So, I mean, there's pros and cons to each side of that.
I almost had one.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
Yes,
No, you didn't. No,
damn.
It wasn't a good one.
Oh, wow.
Hey, I don't. Okay, thought this was the no BS podcast.
It is. I mean, I appreciate it. I appreciate you.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate your friendship. I appreciate everything that, like, we've done in the last, like, how long have I been here already? 2 months?
Going on studio?
2 months? Yeah.
Yeah, 2 months.
Yeah, man.
Mm-hmm.
And we've done some crazy things.
What have we done? That's crazy. It's been very, very chill around here.
Hey, when it's you and I coming into work every day, like, we race cars.
Yeah. Yeah, that was fun. Yeah.
Almost broke it that same day too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a golfing simulator because you are a multi-business owner here. Talk about that. Why?
Why? Well, I like to golf, so I have a bunch of golfing equipment. I had a golf simulator in my garage that I had set up and I had, sourced out and parted out. And so here's the thing, right? I have hobbies, and a lot of times hobbies will blend into, like, work type stuff or, like, figuring out a way. Because my first thought always is, how can I monetize a hobby? Which is, it's okay. Like, that's how I got into photography. Like, I enjoyed it, but how can I make money and do this, full time? Same thing with golf. Like, I enjoy this. I'm not going to go pro, but how can I monetize off of what I enjoy to do or what I enjoy doing? I had the simulator in my house, and they had an opening at an office or office space here that was dirt cheap. And it was like, okay, well, I can take this, put it in there. I partner with another company that outsource all of the booking, all of the rental, advertising, and all of that stuff. They handle everything. All I have to do is,
own the space.
Own the space, right? So it's it's for the most part it's passive. It's very passive income. Just started that, so I'm not seeing a return on that just yet. So next month I should get my first check from them. But I own it. I can go in and play whenever I want, but it's making money when I'm not in there.
Right.
So, that is something that, is I'm looking for opportunities that I can make passive income or make income based off of the stuff that I'm already interested in, right? Whereas I just learned, or I'm working on, so like the RC, he was talking about the cars and racing the cars earlier, right? So I'm getting into like RC cars. That's not something that I feel like I'm going to create like monetize that off of. That's strictly like I enjoy doing that, right? My son enjoys doing it, so we bond over that. But I'm not going to try to like monetize. Like I'm not going to open up a RC car shop or something. You know what I mean?
You could have tournaments.
I guess, but with that it was very much the reason that I opened it is because I was going to try to monetize it. That's the reason why I had it here. Because the unit costs money. So it's either I put it in there and I have to pay out of pocket for the space, or how can I make it pay for itself?
Yeah.
So that goes into like renting it out. Even with like studio spaces, right? No photographer or videographer shoots every day, all day. Yeah. So at some point, your studio space is going to be empty. How can you monetize that? By putting somebody in there on the days that it's not being used. So, a lot of people that have studio space, I don't know, there's very few studio owners that don't rent out their space, like, or just keep it to themselves, because it just makes more sense to make that money off of when you're not using it.
Right. And I think what we've got going on here, like just the people who are signed on to this and like forming this whole space here. I mean, they're all good people. We all know each other well, and I think that's an important thing to consider when partnering to do something too. Like you.
Yeah, that's very, very important.
Though maybe it doesn't always work out that way, right? So what would you say to somebody who's considering like, okay, I want to invest in something, and it may not even be studio space, but just in their area of work, but they want to partner up with somebody else? What would be like those things they should look out for?
So I was reading, man, this was my opportunity to say, I was reading a book by such and such, and it said, I don't even remember the author, right? I was on this, I'm looking at books, and so let me back up a little bit, or I'll bring that up after. But it was saying that when you're partnering with somebody, it's beneficial to have a partner that can pick up where you leave off. So, and what makes this unique is like we're like in this space that there's 6 of us in this space. We all do pretty much the same thing, but we're not partnering as far as like we all have our own businesses. We're just utilizing the space.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like investing in another, like a business with somebody and going or running a business with somebody or partnering on a project, it's beneficial for each of those people to do different things.
Yeah.
So as a photographer, maybe I partner with a videographer. As a videographer, maybe I partner with a photographer.
Yeah.
It doesn't make much sense for 2 videographers to partner on the same project unless the scope of that project justifies it. So you need somebody to run, cam A, cam B. You need somebody to, you both need to be proficient in lighting and all that. But for like a business, specifically that, maybe it's not a service-based business, but like for a studio, for instance, right? You have 2 people that want to manage the studio. that's not necessary
Yeah.
for two people to manage the studio, because things are going to get missed. Well, you talk to this person, you talk to this person. It's a lot going on, and things are overlapping.
Mm-hmm.
It's better to have somebody that is managing the studio and having another person that's doing marketing, right?
Right.
It's better to have people that you're partnering with that do different things, not necessarily exactly what you do. Now, there can be some overlap, and that helps, because if I'm explaining something to you, well, you get that because some of our skills overlap.
Right.
But it's more efficient if there are different people doing different things, not different people doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's where a lot of confusion comes up, because when you get into a business with people who do the same thing as you're doing, there can be tension, because you both want to do it your way.
Yeah.
And you both have ideas about the same thing. No, I take this part, you take that part, we do our parts, and we bring them together. And that's a lot easier than trying to figure out how to both do the same thing. Yeah. Not saying that it can't be done. Like, people do it. It's just, somebody has to be in control of what is happening on certain areas.
Yeah.
You have to have the final say so of what's happening here.
Mm-hmm.
So
then, would you fire me?
Immediately. Immediately. No, fire you from what?
I mean, you're talking about managing and everything. Yeah, I'm just kind of an employee here. I'm like the janitor.
How do you figure you're an employee? Like, you have your own business.
I just show up, boss.
You have your business. We each have our. Nobody's an employee here. Like, we each have our own businesses. We run our own businesses successfully. You're a great photographer and videographer. Like, you. Yeah, you do great work. So, like, your work stands on its own. There, you don't. Yeah, you're not. Yeah, nobody can fire you, bro.
Thanks. This was the first and last episode at Studio B. Great.
Studio B.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, I mean, this was one of those things that Steven and I had talked about for a while too, and so when you came out with the question if whether or not we wanted to be a part of it, it was, I mean, for me, I was kind of like, it's just not my time. And then Steven was the one that had to remind me, like, dude, if we're waiting for our time to happen, it's never going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, for you and coming in with Austin, like, was there ever a time where you guys were like, is it our time to keep looking for something like this?
So I've had a studio space on and off, but I've had a studio space or had the idea of wanting to be in a studio space very early on when I got started, because I understand the value of having a space to create in, right? Mm-hmm. We live in Texas, so the climate is all over the place. Yeah. It could be hot, it could be cold, it could be raining. And having to base your sessions around the weather it can hurt. It can hurt your bottom line. So when you're talking to clients, it just builds a next level of trust when you say, well, I have a studio that we can shoot in. Mm-hmm. If you're doing an outdoor shoot, okay, well, we can shoot this, but if something happens and it rains, I have a studio that we can shoot in. A lot of people want to shoot indoors. They don't want to shoot outdoors. They want to do studio work. So it just brings more business your way, because you have the ability to say, I have a studio that we can shoot in. And so there's nothing wrong with renting. Like, I've rented studios before. But you have to, so when you're talking about your bottom line, what you're charging clients versus what you're making, a lot of times when you're shooting, like, now going into a studio, $50 an hour, $80 an hour, that's great for 1 hour.
Right.
But if you're shooting an hour session, you're going to have to book 2 hours, because you have to also pay for the time that you're setting up and tearing down. So that 1 hour session, you're now paying 2 hours for.
Yeah.
So at $80 an hour, that's $160. If you're paying, or if you're charging $300 for your session, that's over half of what you're making already.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So if I'm going to take that money and put it in anything, why not pay for my own studio space?
Yeah.
And, then you start getting into the whole thing of, well, what does the studio space cost versus what, how much work I have and all of that. But what I've found, and this doesn't work for everybody, but I've found that when I have a studio space, the volume of my work is higher just because I have the studio space. So it's almost as if I can't afford not to have a space to shoot in, because then I automatically lose some of the clients that want to shoot inside every single time or want to shoot inside. Yeah. Now a space like this, like I haven't shot in here a whole bunch, but I still find value in being able to say I have a space to shoot out of. There's no day of the week that I can't shoot some form of content. So, but yeah, it just depends on what you're shooting. Like some people might find more value in having a space than others.
Yeah. I think for me, like, definitely having a place to where I can separate like work from home.
Yeah, because you're here a lot.
Yeah.
You are here a lot.
Very much. But I find myself like, if I stay at home and work at home, I'll wake up, be on the computer doing all these different things, and then be there until like late into the night. And I'm like, that does not help me at all. Whereas knowing I had the studio space is here, and like, as long as I'm in the studio, this is where work gets done. Whereas, I mean, you've seen me. I don't know how much work actually gets done.
And then when you get home, you stop. Yeah. You don't work at home.
Right. Unless,
for the most part.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, unless a client's like, hey, can't access the gallery or something, then like, yeah, I'm going to get on and do that. But for me, I think definitely having a place where I can separate the two has definitely been the help to that.
That sounds healthy. It sounds healthy. No, seriously. I envy that, because like I'll come in, I'll do some work here, and then I'm also working from home. So like I'm working like a lot of times I'll go to bed at like 3 a.m., 3:30.
Yeah.
Just because. So I got to get out of this. I've gotten into a mindset like if I'm not working, I'm wasting time. So
type A.
Yeah. and it's not healthy, because like I think that's just, as a business owner, you don't have a day off.
Yeah.
You have to build in days off or time off into your schedule. And I don't do that very well. So that's something that I definitely want to work on. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Like when I come here, I know like I'm working, in the space, I have the other space over there. So it's nice to be by both. But yeah, when I get home, I'm also working.
Yeah.
But I have a lot to work on. Like,
yeah, you do.
Yeah, I have a lot to work on. So, but yeah, I think that's really a great way to do it. Just
yeah. So, for the final question, then, what is something that you would tell other people who are wanting to get into that line of work? Maybe either just flat out photography, we'll say, because you came from something opposite from photography. Like, this wasn't even a thing. It was just a hobby that you kind of monetized. And what would you tell somebody who wants to take that up?
So I do, as of now, I do about like 85 to 90% video.
Yeah.
And 10 to 15% photography. I don't know if I forgot the first number I said, so I don't know if those add up, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
So I do mostly video now, but that was a product of me getting into photography.
Yeah. Creator, we'll say.
Creator. Okay.
So
yeah.
Either or.
So if you're wanting to get into being a creator, I mean, I don't even know. I don't even think that there's like you just go create. Like there's nobody can say like, oh, he's not a creator or she's not a creator. You're a creator. Like if you're creating things, like the first time you pick up a camera and you start taking pictures, you are a creator.
Yeah.
The first time you pick up a paintbrush and you start painting, you're a creator because you're creating something that didn't exist before.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is it a good creation? That's subjective. Like some creations might look a little better than others. Like it's not. I think when you get to a point where you're happy with what you're creating, that is the moment that a lot of people can call themselves a creator. Like it was hard. It was like for the longest time, I never called myself a photographer or a videographer. It was like I'm still learning. Like I'm not a photographer. I have a camera, but I'm not a photographer. Anybody else that saw me with a camera at an event would be like, "Oh, that's the photographer." Like people's perception of you, like, "Oh, you are whatever you say you are." But in my mind, it was like I'm not this until I'm comfortable with the work that I'm producing.
Yeah.
So, getting into being a photographer, being a videographer, like it's just a matter of doing it. Like just pick up a camera, start shooting. You are now a creator.
Yeah.
Now monetizing that
right
is a different story because now you have to convince other people that your creations are worth money.
Mm-hmm.
So the only way to do that is to study the craft, perfect your craft, practice your craft to a point where what you're producing is on another level of what everybody else is producing.
Right.
And you present that to your client or whoever you're going after, and for their approval and say, okay, like I want you to do that for me. Like I want you to, I want your talents for my brand or my, event or whatever. It's a process, bro. Like it's a process. You have your craft, you have your client, and your client has to like what you do. Like so, yeah. And there's a client out there for everybody. Like even when you're beginning, like there's people that are looking for the cheapest thing. And that might not necessarily be the best client, but it's a client. Like everybody has to, put in the groundwork. As you progress, you can choose better clients. Like right now, like I am very picky about who I choose to work with.
Yeah.
So, if I don't like your attitude or your demeanor or feel like you're asking for a lot for a little, like maybe you should work with somebody else. Like I'm not going to take on a client just because of the money.
Mm-hmm.
The money can be very good, but if they're like straight up, I know they're going to be a pain in the butt to work with, then I'll save myself that hassle.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I don't know if that answered the question.
Yeah.
But,
it does. Woo! I love it. That was great.
These mics sound really good. I haven't used these since I bought them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I've never actually used them.
Well, that's great. We look great though. That's what matters. So
I mean, it's a Canon. We could look better.
Damn.
If it was a Sony.
I mean, if only we had a Sony camera we could put up there, right? But hey, this has been the That's BS podcast. Thank you for checking it out. Thank you to Tally for just jumping in. I mean, I really was just gonna.
Shoot, you're not recording.
Yeah, I am. But yeah, so more episodes coming soon, talking business, all this different stuff. Going to start branching into all of that as well. So yeah, subscribe, like, comment, share, all that good stuff. Check them out at Ferro Visuals on everything, even Snapchat.
I don't have a Snapchat. I don't.
You don't?
I think I do. I don't use it.
Yeah.
But
so one of the bad things about Canon is that this thing stops the video. So at this point, people are only listening to audio.
Freaking Canon. Is that what it says? It stopped?
Yeah. Movie recording stopped. At 30 minutes, it stops.
That is stupid. And they did that because
it overheats.
No, it was because of how the cameras are classified. They get taxed higher if they're video cameras.
For real?
Yeah. And something changed, and they're not classified like that anymore. So now, like, most of the newer cameras can go past 30 minutes, but it was about how they were taxed. So they had to put a recording limit on them. Bruh. There's nothing keeping that camera from recording over 30 minutes, other than
overheating.
Yeah, well, no, not even overheating. It's still on.
Right, for like the next 5 minutes or so.
Does it have an overheating warning?
So one of the problems with the R6 is that it does overheat.
Canon.
Yeah. The R6 Mark II is much better with that, and it also doesn't have that 30-minute limit.
But then that bailed them out, because it is the only reason it has that limit is because of how it was taxed. And that it's not a video camera. It can't be a video camera. And anything recording over 30 minutes for some reason is magically a video camera. So
yeah, because even the the R5, I didn't know has a 30-minute limit. Mm-hmm. And I found that out until Austin told me. Yeah, and I was like,
I was like, why does that? Yeah, but that's why
on the flagship camera we're gonna have that limit.
Yeah, I don't know the specifics of it, but that I think it got changed because a lot of the newer stuff has it's unlimited recording.
Yeah,
but it gets taxed different, or it used to get taxed different. I don't know what the specifics are, but that's why.
Yeah, no, that's it. That's the problem with that camera.
Turn that camera off before it catches on fire.
No, it won't. It'll be fine. I've gotten it to its overheating moments so many times, which is probably very unhealthy for that camera.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, but yeah, it's still going. Look at it go.
Should get a Sony. It's not another problem.
I mean, if I had more clients,
about $1,500 for that camera right there.
Dang. Okay, I paid $25.
Hey, the Nikon Z5 Mark II. I don't know what the overheating issue is, or if it has overheating.
Yeah,
$1,600. That's a.
But of all of us, I don't want to be the one that changes first.
You know,
I don't. I'll wait till you or Austin switch over.
I'll put it like this: I would get one.
Yeah.
Or I probably will try to get one, but I will not give up my Sonys.
Yeah.
It would be in addition to, especially because the Z mount can support Sony lenses.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So
even like with the red Komodo, the newer red Komodo with the Z mount, because I had the one with the RF mount, but it was I can't adapt my Sony lenses to the RF mount, so my Sony lenses were useless. Yeah. You can adapt EF mount to a Sony. EF lenses to a Sony mount, but not the other way around. And you couldn't put Sony lenses on an RF mount. So the Komodo with the Nikon mount, you can adapt Sony lenses to fit on that. So with all my Sony, so that's what I'm trying to. That's the issue. Like, I don't want to go into another ecosystem and have to replace everything or get all new glass. Yeah. And then the big caveat to that is, like, even if I did that, say I had, a certain lens that worked on, Canon and didn't work, I didn't have that same lens for Sony. It's like, well, I need this lens on the Canon to shoot this portion, but then I need to take my Sony or my Canon or whatever, or Sony, because I have this lens to shoot this port. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
There's two ecosystems, and I'm having to spend money either on both or split the money and only have half of what I need for each.
Yeah.
So the fact that I can use my lenses with the Nikon is a bonus, because now I don't have to go out and buy Nikon glass. I can use what I have. I don't know if it has autofocus, but at least I can put it on there. But, like, the reason I'm interested in the Nikon is because it has the RAW, which I would be shooting video, where I can probably just get away with manual focus. So it would be for the RAW. You know what I mean? Like, there's a reason there that the Nikon would be a great addition.
So what you're saying is sell all my Canon stuff and jump over to Nikon or Sony.
You know, when you put it like that, like if it was me, I would, but I can't tell you yes, do that, or no, don't do that, because I don't know.
Yeah.
Canon might look. Canon, for what they have the 24 to 105 2.8. They have the C400 that just came out a little while ago. They have some really good stuff. Like Canon is a great brand to be under because they're always producing like top of the line stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying leave Canon. All I'm saying is there are other options.
Yeah.
So, and I'm crossing my fingers that there's a 24 to 105 2.8 coming out for Sony, because that's the only thing that Canon has right now that I'm like I'd switch to Canon for that lens.
Interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
The 24 to 105 2.8. I would switch to Canon for that lens, but I just feel like at this point a 24 to 105 2.8 is coming out for Sony any day.
So if they told you no, it's not in our lineup right now, we're not looking into that right now, is that when you would say like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna make the switch? Or are you kind of like, I'll wait 10 years and if it's not out by then I'll switch over to Canon?
So I'm not brand loyal. Like like if it's a situation where it would never be coming out, yeah, I say I'll switch for just that lens. But I don't know. It would be a great lens. Like people who are shooting with that lens right now love that lens.
Yeah.
It's so versatile. It's a heavy lens. It's a long, heavy lens, and I'm sure, I'm like 99.9% sure that that Sony's 24 to 105 2.8 will be a lighter and smaller lens than Canon's, because that's, for the most part, that is how all of their lenses are. Sony's lenses, the comparable lens is substantially smaller and lighter than the Canon counterpart.
Yeah.
So I'm just...
Why do you think that is, though?
Just development, research, and design. Like, I mean, Sony's been in the game a long time. Like, so it's... I don't know. So when you're talking about like companies and like developing like equipment, it's like Apple and PCs, right? Like you have Apple, they're developing everything in house. They develop their software, they develop their hardware, and it's made to work together, right? But a lot of what my thing that Apple, a lot of people say, well, they don't innovate.
Yeah.
Well, they're in a bubble. Like a lot of the stuff that they make doesn't work well with other devices. It's like they're stuck in their bubble. So innovation within Apple, I feel, gets stalled a little bit because they're not used to working in other things. It's all Apple all the time. Whereas Samsung, they innovate a lot because they work well with other brands, right? Same thing with, camera companies, Canon and Sony. Like Canon innovates, they do great, they work, well with what they have, but they make printers. I think, they make printers, they make some other stuff.
Yeah.
But Sony makes freaking everything. Sony makes, TVs, they make laptops, they make, I think I saw a Sony microwave. Like they make a whole bunch of stuff. So all of this research and development that goes into all of these other products has to funnel down or trickle down to the research and development for things like lens development. Now, I don't know how that helps, but they have a lot more data to go off of.
Yeah.
And all of the stuff that they develop and make versus Canon, they only develop a certain amount of things, which, can be a burden or a gift or a curse or whatever, because, you do one thing, do it well.
Yeah.
But I just think that Sony has a lot more data points to go off of as to, like, how can we make this smaller? Okay, we'll take some elements from that project that we worked on for that, refrigerator.
Yeah.
And implement it into this. I don't know. But, that's my theory.
Well,
I'm correct.
I know you are. I mean, I'm actually pretty proud that camera's still going.
I'm telling you, it could have been recording this whole time.
It's 41 minutes in.
Yeah.
11 minutes over the point it stopped.
My thing about that is,
we actually could have ran over there and like,
could have.
Did I know?
No. Now, my thing is, because
I will next time.
That can be like updated with firmware.
Yeah.
Like that could at some point record over 30 minutes, but why they haven't allowed that to happen, I don't know. When's the last time you updated your camera?
When I bought it.
Yeah. Might wanna...
Really? Like that? That's I don't
I check for updates every like 2 or 3 months. For my cameras and lenses.
R6 Mark 1 update. Which is fixes problems with card access, resolves focus issues. No.
Focus issues. What is that?
I don't know.
What is that? Focus issues? Sony's don't have that issue.
It was hanging around Nikon's too much. Yeah. There's nothing about overheating. Or sorry, there's nothing about like stopping.
Oh, there's plenty about overheating.
Oh yeah, no, there is.
There's plenty about overheating. So yeah. But, yeah.
Man, this is fun. I like it. Thanks for really I really was just gonna do it by myself.
Yeah, because you didn't want me on.
No, it's not that.
It's okay. You've been doing these podcasts for how long, and you haven't asked me to be on it? It's cool.
Mind you, you're always busy too.
I've been here for like 2 hours.
Well, so also, who texted you this yesterday? Let me go back into my texts.
About what?
Let's see, where are you? Here it is.
Searching your phone on a podcast with only audio is riveting stuff.
So when will you be in the office this next week? Then you said probably at some point, not sure what day, what's up. I said, okay, well, when that day is, let me know.
Monday.
So
today.
You didn't let me know.
But here we are.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, like, I would have come dressed up like in a suit or something. I'm kidding. I mean, I'm actually glad I wore this today. I mean, the weather was fantastic. Like, I actually got to wear the stuff that I like to wear. Though, of course,
it's gonna be hot again.
Yeah, at some point. Not today.
Yeah.
At least for like the next 2 days, it's supposed to be nice. So it's okay.
Good.
But had you told me, and
you did your makeup and all that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would have had like the whole team here.
Oh.
But
sorry. Sorry.
There's gonna be more episodes though where you're gonna come on. Since like
really
we're here all the time.
Yes. Are you sure?
Yes. Like, so as long as you're cool with coming on, I'm telling you, we need to have our own thing.
Right, well, I mean, I've been asking. I was like, hey, when can I get on? And you're like, I'm interviewing somebody more important than you. Yeah. So okay, we'll see. We'll see.
No. It's gonna happen.
Okay.
It's gonna be good.
All right.
Woo. All right. Well, At least until the next one. Probably it's going to be me by myself in the next one because you're always busy.
Because you don't want me on here. Okay.
Because you have all your clients.
So if you don't want me on,
no,
say,
I want you on.
I want to record by myself.
I want you on all the time.
Pause.
What do you... What?
Okay. I mean, I'm here. Whenever, let me know.
For real.
Yeah, this is fun.
Good. I'm glad.
Good.
Yeah. So, like, on the real, though, like, I really want you on all the time. Like...
Pause.
No, why is that a pause moment? There was something that happened recently with Austin, too, and I was like, oh, my gosh. This is what Steven and Tally keep telling me. And he's like, what do you mean? And I was like, what you said, and I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, probably shouldn't say it on the podcast because I'm sure it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, so.
For the most part.
Yep.
If somebody were to say that's what she said at the end of it, that's what it is.
I want you on all the time. I want you on all the time.
You don't have to keep saying it.
I'm trying to think about it. Like, I don't.
Okay.
I want you.
Stop saying it. Just.
I'm trying to put the two together.
Figure it out later. You don't have to do it on the mic.
Right.
Figure it out on your own time.
It could have been recording the whole time. The whole video thing.
Yeah.
It's still going. Like, that is amazing. It never does that. Oh, yeah, that's another thing we got to figure out. Like, that whole audio, the soundboard.
Pads.
Yeah.
You can upload your own audio and, like, have intro music, sound effects, and you could do different pages. So you can do, like, 4 pages of, like, different sounds.
Yeah. I love this one compared to the original. I think I need to sell the old one. Man.
You know what you should do? And this is, again, what I like to do. When I'm looking to upgrade or I'm looking to get new things, I'll sell the old one before the new one is released. I mean, that's a given, right?
Yeah.
But you have to stay up on like you can't wait till it gets released to sell the old one.
Yeah.
Because then everybody knows the new one's coming out.
Yeah.
So like
once rumors start and everything.
Right. You gotta. But if you use it all the time, maybe you can't wait. But
yeah,
you know, that's why I sold my A7 IV because rumors are that the A7 V is coming out soon or by the end of this year. So
yeah,
I can get away with one. But
yeah. Shoot, I mean, I'll just sell all my camera gear and wait till the next best thing drops, and then get the next camera. No, and I'll just put a pause on.
And I'm sure you have. I'm sure you have some gear that you don't use regularly.
A Canon T3.
Okay, why do you still have that? Sell it.
Because it's the start of my journey.
You can get. You know what? You can get $100.
I was about to say like 150.
$150 and get you a tripod. That's what you need to do. This dude has a tripod that has two. How do you have two of the same trash tripods? You have two of the exact same trash tripods. It can't hold it like a pound. You should see his camera on top of the tripod right now. It's like
it's holding up.
It's dancing. Like
no, well,
if you went,
it's the air.
You went over there and tapped it, it would fall to the ground. It's flimsy.
Pause.
No, bro.
Like that?
I guess. I mean, yeah, that was okay. Yeah,
it's flimsy. Pause. See it. That's what she said.
You need another tripod. That tripod is embarrassing for me.
Hey, one day.
No. This week, I'm gonna help you sell your T3. We're gonna get you another tripod.
Sell my T3.
I
gotta get permission from my mom. That was her camera, and then I kind of just.
Does she use it?
No.
When's the last time she had it?
Like when I took it and started using it.
How long ago was that?
Like over 10 years.
That's your camera now. That's just mother-son privileges. Like, I do that all the time. Yeah. If you want, call her and ask her, but you need to get rid of that camera and get you another tripod. I'm so serious. I'm like, we need to get the legwork on that this week. You need another tripod by the end of this week. Because that tripod is literally on its last leg.
Well,
yeah.
Maybe in the next episode I'll have another tripod.
You will.
Or a camera that doesn't stop at 30 minutes. I could have been recording like video. You know what I kept thinking? Like, oh, it's for the podcast. It's all good. Like, I'll just keep on the audio. And like just now, 21 minutes later, I'm thinking, wait a second. The other reason why I have video is to do like content too. And it's just hitting me.
Yeah. Hindsight is 20/20.
Yeah. So next time though.
You live and you learn.
Yeah. It's okay. But until then.
Yeah.
Yeah. So episode 2 coming next week. Woo! At least we'll see.
Good job.
Yeah, thank you. All right. Well, for everybody that's still listening, thank you. Have a good one. God bless y'all. What was I going to say? Yeah, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Check out Tally on Ferro Visuals, on everything, literally.
Ferro.
Visualz.
S.
It's okay. But yeah, so we'll catch y'all on the next one. Until then, tell somebody that you love them. Get a good glass of sweet tea. And what else? No BS. The only BS you got to deal with is in the name.